Guys, I'm in a really good mood today. That's because it's my birthday. That's why I'm wearing the fancy boy shirt today. Also, if I put on real people clothes, it makes me want to work harder. This is one of the techniques that I use during self-isolation to get out of bed and actually get videos done. A couple days ago, I was in not so much of a worky mood and I was like aimlessly scrolling through Twitter. And then I saw this one tweet from Aaron Sullivan. And I was like, whoa, that's a sick photo of Arizona. No, it was not Arizona. It was a freaking paper bag with a little tiny person. I was like, this is one of the coolest photos I've ever seen. So I started deep diving. I came across this artist named Tanaka Tatsuya and my mind was literally blown. There's someone out there making a living taking photos of tiny people and it's the coolest thing ever. And I was like, I need to buy a ton of tiny people and try this photography style at home. So I started going online, searching up where do I buy mini figurines? Also very hard to find, by the way, especially during a quarantine. Okay, so I've been dealing with the guy for the mini figures over email and he told me that to pick them up safely at the curbside of this spot, he just put them on the fence. So I'm gonna go over and get the bag that's just literally taped to the fence. There it is. There you go. So that's what I did. I went out and spent $200 on tiny figures. Try explaining that to your wife or fiance or your partner. I'm gonna spend about $200 on tiny people today.
Are you joking?
No.
You're serious?
Yeah.
They cost $200?
Well, I'm gonna buy a bunch of them. It doesn't go well. I think my favorite thing about this style of photography is that you have to be so creative. You have to find ways for these tiny people to interact with normal everyday objects around your house. And that's a really fun way to exercise your creativity. So in today's video, we're gonna go through all the things that you need to get started in miniature photography. We'll be talking about the gear, where to source mini figures, as well as a behind the scenes look of me taking photos around my house with these minifigures and the post-production process. So let's jump into miniature photography. Okay, let's talk about the gear that you're gonna need to get started. The obvious one, the number one item and the hardest one to source are the mini figures. Now, if you're not in a rush for finding these tiny people, what you can do is go on Amazon, and I think they have like a 100-person pack for like $2 to $15 or something like that. I'll link a couple options below. Now, if you want some bougier minifigures like the one I'll be using in today's video, there's a German company called Notch that makes a whole array of different products for model trains, and one of the product lines is tiny people. There's literally someone out there painting tiny figures. Oh, this little person looks oh so good. I love his little skis and I love his little helmet. The next item that you're gonna need is a camera. A phone camera works, or if you have a DSLR, the one that we're using in today's video is a Sony a7 III with a 24-70 f2.8 G Master lens. That's because we want to get some ultra high quality photos, but both work really, really well. The next item that you're gonna need is a tripod. Since we'll be shooting at like f16 or higher and we have a lower shutter, you're gonna wanna use a tripod to get super sharp photos. Oh yeah. Ooh. That tripod. Ah! The one that we'll be using in this video is the Peak Design travel tripod made out of carbon fiber. This thing is amazing, and Peak Design happens to also be the sponsor of this week's episode. The next item is you're gonna need some sort of studio box or light source. You can either use window light, this studio box right here for like $20 off of Amazon, or a portable light so that you can light the scene. And the last item that you're gonna need are a couple of items from around your house that these figures can interact with. For example, in this week's video, I used sugar, some coffee, and some cookies. And the last tip is go into your camera settings and make sure that you select a 2-second timer. That way your photo is super sharp. All right, now that you have all your items collected, let's go and shoot. I'm gonna talk you through a little behind the scenes here of 5 different photos that I took. All right, so here is our first photo. I feel like a lot of creatives are gonna really like this one because I assume most creatives like coffee. Yes, those are some farmers on a field of coffee standing on a portafilter. That's right. So in order to get this shot, what I did is I took my portafilter, filled it up with a bunch of coffee, stamped it, then I brought it over to my little light box here, placed it inside so I could have some good natural light all around it and we can get nice and close. And then what I did is I placed my little character right on top there. Then I got the little guy with the shovel, placed him there, got my knife out, placed a bit of dirt around the guy with the shovel so it looks like he's shoveling it up. Then I brought my camera on a tripod, set it to f16, and I think the shutter was like something like 0.5 of a second because we didn't have a ton of light in this situation. And that's how we got a bunch of farmers on a coffee field on top of a portafilter. I always like seeing the behind the scenes of this because it looks so funny. Here's the photo taken on the DSLR, and then here's the photo taken on the phone. Both are awesome and both do a really good job. All right, my next idea is that I went into the cabinet and I found some sugar that was in like a little jar, and I was like, I bet you this could be like a ski hill if I just like let it topple over and then let gravity like push all the sugar down on an angle. So that's what I did. I brought the jar out, let it create a natural ski hill, and then place these people around. And now we have some tiny people skiing on some sugar. It turned out pretty good. So here's the photo taken with the DSLR. I'm at like f20 here so I can get the entire scene in focus because we have a couple different depths there. So I wanna make sure everything's in focus. And here's our final photo with the iPhone and then a behind the scenes of how this whole thing looks. All right, this next photo was inspired from a photo I saw on Pinterest for miniature photography. So I took a loaf of sourdough bread. P.S. Sourdough bread, best bread ever, right? Comment if you guys agree that sourdough bread is actually the best bread ever. So I took this sourdough, I'm like, oh, we have this little line here. Kind of looks like a hiking trail. So why don't we grab a little hiker, place him in there, put him on the sourdough, and let's take a photo to see if this looks kind of like a mountain. And I also did a quick sky replacement here to make this photo look a little bit more epic. So here's our final DSLR photo. Here's our photo taken with a phone, as well as the behind the scenes of how this whole thing looks. I think the behind the scenes are essential with pairing this because I think it always looks so funny. You have this like really cool scene, you're like, oh, that looks really good. And then you see the behind the scenes, you're like, that's hilarious that that's actually what it looks like. All right, so our next miniature photography photo is this person climbing a cookie. We have these 2 cookies left over from when we were baking a couple nights ago. I cut them in half and then stacked them on top of each other. Grabbed a little mountaineer, put it in, just shoved a foot into the cookie so that she wouldn't fall. That's also another point, is that if you can't get them to stick, you're gonna need some glue. But in this case, because we're using a lot of food, it worked here. So here's the photo taken with the DSLR. Here's the photo taken with the phone. And here's the behind the scenes of how it all looks. And our last miniature photography series is going to be Matchstick Men. Not the bad movie with Nicolas Cage from a few years ago. Little miniature scene. So I had this carpenter set that I purchased, and what I did is I went and grabbed matches, and then I like cut them into little pieces, stacked them up, and then I had these 2 guys who were carrying like a piece of wood, and now we have our Matchstick Men. Here is the DSLR photo. Here is the iPhone photo. Guys, miniature photography. The most fun, right? It's always a little jaw-dropping because you can send it like a normal photo and be like, this is a nice photo, but there's something about miniature photography that when you send it to people, they're like, that's so cool. They're in the coffee. They're farmers in the coffee. That's literally the text I got from somebody.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
So as of today, April 8th, 2020, I think we can all agree that we're living in extremely strange times. I do want to give a big shout out to this week's sponsor, Peak Design, who are doing some amazing stuff to help people around the world and our planet. Now, before I tell you about their amazing tripod, I do want to mention that from now until April 10th of 2020, 100% of the profits from every tripod sold will be donated to supporting COVID-19 disaster relief and combating climate change. Now that's just awesome. This channel and Peak Design strongly believe that both of these global disasters require immediate action. Now I know during an economic downturn, it's very easy for businesses to forget about their sustainability efforts and investments. And I know we're just trying to keep our heads above water right now, but I do want to note something. Peak Design has not forgotten about climate change. All right, so now let's talk about this tripod. This travel tripod packs down to half the volume of traditional tripods without sacrificing height or stability. It's literally designed to deploy in seconds and pack up within seconds. They basically redesigned the ball head here. So it's an integrated ball head, no bulky, confusing knobs, just like a single ergonomic ring for like smooth, simple control. And the best part, the travel tripod is 100% serviceable and backed by Peak Design's lifetime guarantee. And also just kind of speaking candidly for a few minutes, Lizzie had it a few months before I did. I'd always just like steal it from her. It packed up really nicely into our suitcases when we were traveling. It's super light. It can go on the side of my backpack. So after using it for a few months and someone who's a working professional, this thing is just absolutely amazing. So if you guys are interested and you want to buy yourself a present for your birthday, or you want to buy me a present for my birthday for yourself, links are below to grab this tripod.
Now back to our show.
Okay, so let's edit a couple of these photos real quick. And guys, that is miniature photography. I hope you enjoyed that. This is probably my new favorite style of photography. If you guys end up taking any miniature photos, please tag me on Instagram and I'll share some of my favorite ones. Make sure to include the BTS because that's like one of the best parts of the whole thing. And would you like to see more miniature photography on this channel? Should we do like challenges? If I did like an Instagram story being like, all right, what items should I use this week? And I'll find a way to like have the people interact with them. Is that something that you want to see? Please let me know in the comments below. And again, it's my birthday. I don't know what to do. We're stuck inside. Leave some comments on like what I should actually be doing for my birthday. Should I order pizza? What are the toppings on the pizza? These are all important questions to life. And on that note, if you guys like this video and you want to support this channel for my birthday, please press like. That stuff actually makes a difference. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified for future videos. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Check out this set that I got here. This is the photographer's kit that I got. The Fotografen, as the Germans like to say. Fotografen. There's a guy with like a handy cam here. He's going down. He's trying to get the angles. Oh, low angle. It's a handy cam fanboy. Oh, maybe that's Bill. And we're going to go and pick these up. Properly social distancing to get the stuff. Why are you doing this to me? Are you excited for miniature photography? Now, I need you to do one thing for me. Please don't eat my tiny people. You ate my little miniatures earlier.